Here's a crazy number, $100 million. That's how much equipment was stolen last year in the United States alone, where half of that was theft by conversion, where that is, guy comes in, rents your machine legally, turns around and sells it on like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or he has a buyer lined up. He's maybe part of some sort of crime ring. Today's episode, we're going over the top 5 red flags that you should be looking out for. That way you can protect yourself, your store, from just becoming another statistic. Welcome back to Rent All Business Beacon, where as always, we are guiding equipment rentals and igniting local success. Fun little statistic I'm going to start out with this morning is they say 90% of podcasts quit after their 3rd episode. So here we are on episode 3. I've already got the script wrote out for episode number 4. So I'm going to join the top 10% just by putting out this next episode. So where else can you find something where you can join the top 10% of producers where all you have to do is something 4 times? So that's pretty wild. We're sticking to it. I know, only episode 3. A lot for me to say that we're sticking to it, but nevertheless, we're joining that top 10% club on the very next episode. This episode is going to be great for your counter people, your yard guys, dispatchers, your owner operators. Honestly, anybody that has a role anywhere within the organization is going to be an awesome episode. What I'm doing is just bringing to light the series that Equipment Rental Guard through the ARA has on their platform. If you're not a member of the ARA, you're really missing out. There are some awesome resources on there. I would highly encourage you to join the ARA. I'll have a link down below of their website, where to register, and all that stuff. It is just an excellent program and association to be part of. So I highly encourage you to join that up. So all I'm going to be doing today is pretty much regurgitating what the ERG put out. So just bear with me as I go through it. I know y'all don't have the time to sit down and go through a series. So this will just be a 15-minute episode, kind of going through the top 5 things. I'll expand on a few points that I feel like they needed to get more in depth on. So item number 1 is going to be in regards to identification. That's really the first place that you start of the rental process. So if at the very beginning it's off, the rental process of they don't have valid identification, it's probably not going to be a legitimate rental. So let's say they show up with a temp ID that's been issued in the last 30 days. I know there's guys in the industry who just say, nope, we're not going to rent to you with a temp ID issued in the last 30 days. But if you're a company that's more relaxed about those things, still get your guard up because things, right there at the beginning are a little bit suspect. Next would be if they have a physical ID, but the photo looks a little like too clean or off, edges are too sharp, hologram is missing. Another chance to, hey, time to get your guard up, start looking at the mannerisms of the customer that you're dealing with there. Maybe they have an out-of-state ID. Just ask a simple question, why did you choose us today? Or what brought you our way? Just start a little bit of a conversation. Gives you the chance to start feeling out that customer if they're legitimate or if they're there to kind of get your equipment and take off with it, getting back to that theft by conversion. Here's a pro move that we're using now with our alert system is we're using an ID scanner called iDEME is the name of the service. There's other ones that are super reputable, like Vouched. I'll have that in the description below, a link to them. So you really need to be utilizing as many tools as you can to protect yourself, setting yourself up for success, not failure. That's the name of the game. So awesome tools out there to kind of spot fakes right out the beginning. Again, from the very beginning is when you need to start watching out for those bad customers or potential thefts. Because if things aren't starting off legit from the very beginning, you can guarantee it's just not going to be a good rental. James Dietz, who has 37 years in law enforcement, where I think the last 10 years he was saying he's focused on equipment theft by conversion in the rental industry. He tells us that if a customer is using a fake ID, you can pretty much guarantee that that's the last time you'll see that customer and your piece of equipment. So again, the very beginning of your interaction with the customer is paramount for ensuring that you're keeping your equipment and your company safe from theft of equipment by conversion. Moving on to item number 2 is going to be in regards to the behavior of the customer. Say a guy comes in and in a screaming rush, trying to get a piece of equipment at the end of the week, end of business day as well, saying I need a piece of equipment pronto. He's trying to rush you to get that contract wrote up. He's trying to pressure you. Don't just give into it. Still keep your guard up. Do all the necessary steps to protect yourself. But that's one area where you need to get your guard up because guys typically aren't in such a rush to get a piece of equipment. Maybe if he's a concrete guy, he's got a truck coming of concrete, he needs a wheel buggy or something, I can understand the guy being rushed then. But by and large, if a guy's in a screaming rush, you should definitely get the guard up. Something's already off from the beginning of that side of things. Another thing is story is changing about the piece of equipment he needs. Most contractors know the piece of equipment that they're after and what they need to get their job done. So if a guy comes in and says, I need a skid steer, no, I need an excavator, just whatever you can get me that moves dirt, that's a bit of a red flag of why is this guy not certain on what he needs if he's just trying to get any piece of equipment. That's a chance when you're like, okay, you need to pay a little bit of attention to this guy. Something's a little bit off. So that's another thing you need to be looking out for. Another thing for behavioral wise that I think is super funny is guys will come in like these high vis, perfectly brand new vests, brand new boots, haven't seen a day of work in their lives. Or the funniest is they'll come in a hard hat. Where any guys out there that are wearing hard hats on a job site, they're wearing a hard hat because they have to. They have no choice. If they don't have the hard hat, they're not working. So they're not too motivated to just wear that around in their truck, going out to pick up a piece of equipment, let alone walking into just a rental house. So that one is super funny right out the gate. These guys that are wearing these brand new high-vis vests, hard hats, boots that haven't even seen a job site in one day. That's a chance to say, okay, this guy is looking pretty suspect. So that's another chance to say, this guy may not be legit. He's just trying to look apart, which they look way less the part when they come in like that. So that's really funny to see. Then you have your distractions where 5 people pour into your showroom for one piece of equipment. Then the guy that ordered it, he's not even there to pick it up, but they're saying they're picking it up on his behalf. Yeah, you may be writing it up in one of those customers' names. We never send out a piece of equipment unless it's an AR account, of course, for someone else calling and reserving it. Whoever's picking up that piece of equipment, they're the ones paying for it, and they're the ones signing for it. It's going in their name. Don't care if somebody called over the phone saying, hey, I want to pay for this and have my guys come pick it up. Nope, don't do it. We don't do it unless we have, extreme rapport with the customer. We have a couple guys that aren't AR customers that, we've been with for a decade or so. But by and large, now if you're picking up a piece of equipment, you're paying for it and you're signing it all in person, all in house, no exceptions. Don't just give in to these guys no matter how hard they might pressure you, because all they're doing by bringing all those guys in is just distraction city, trying to get you to feel like you're pressured to get this thing going, keep your attention, kind of throw you off from your normal routine. Just stick to your normal routine of protecting yourself and your assets and your company, and you're going to be fine. Quote of the year actually is going to come from Tom Wrench of TR Risk Solutions. He brings up that thieves think like thieves and business people think like business people. And what he expands on this is to say, a guy's going to come in talking big talk about, oh, I need this machine for a month. So that your business guy is like, oh, nice. I'm going to get my machine out for a month, get this guaranteed income, where he's just going to turn around and sell it, day one. Then you're getting through the whole month before you're starting to ask questions about, hey, where's my machine? When are you bringing it back? So they're going to try to play buddy-buddy, guys that are being overly nice to you and just trying to be super talkative, get you just comfortable with them. That's another chance that you need to get your guard up, because again, guys are certainly plenty friendly in this industry, but guys that are being obviously overbearing, way too buddy-buddy, perhaps being overly sharing on their information, that's another chance that you need to kind of get your guard up. A guy that's trying to sing a tale to you that makes you hear what you want to hear as a business owner or just an operator, hearing that you got some good rental coming up. Some guys just overtell their story, and that's a chance for you to say, hey, take a step back and say, man, this is kind of weird how this guy's acting. Never seen this guy before, but he's wanting to build this big bill with us or what have you for this piece of equipment, where again, his intentions are just to probably do a theft by conversion, sell your equipment, make you feel like you got something really awesome going on there. So just something to watch out for. I feel like it doesn't really matter. You can take every precaution in the world, and there's always going to be someone that's a little bit better or just have some sort of way to finesse you out of your equipment. But again, you just make every concerted effort to protect yourself and your equipment. And then what you need to do is build a bit of a script for your guys or for yourself. If you feel like things are starting to feel off already, that little voice in your head is starting to talk to you a little bit, sirens are going off, go ahead and start having questions for the guy of, asking him what the scope of work is that he's doing. Ask him about the job site, the location, get an exact address, which is something that we do. We get an exact address from a guy, and if he doesn't know where he's taking it, that's a bit of a red flag. We've had guys that argue with us about, well, I don't know where I'm using it. I don't know the address. So that's weird. How do you not know where you're taking this piece of equipment? We've had that happen, and it turned out perfectly fine, but we had this upset customer for asking a simple question where maybe we could have said, no, we're not going to let you take this because you're being kind of combative. You don't know where you're taking our equipment. It's just kind of weird. It's worked out for us, but again, it's just kind of a day-by-day, scenario-by-scenario situation. But just go ahead and start asking questions, start, digging into them a little bit. They may get a little bit standoffish. They might start throwing weird things that aren't consistent with their original story. Even ask, hey, who's the GC for this job? Let me get his number to make a call just to verify a couple things. If then they start getting really standoffish and not letting you, investigate any further, that's a good opportunity to say, okay, I've used the tools at my disposal. I don't feel comfortable with this rental, so we're just going to go ahead and just deny this rental. No big deal. You're saying no to maybe a few $100 on rental, but you're saving yourself from tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment just never making its way back to your lot. So start asking those questions. It gives a chance for their story to fall apart, for them to start slipping up. There's nothing offensive about asking a few questions. And if a guy gets all offended about it, you pretty much got the answer to your question on that type of customer and the interaction you should expect from it. So save yourself tens of thousands of dollars by simply asking a few questions. Item number 3 is going to be in regards to transportation, what they're using and the manner in which they're hauling your equipment. So say a guy pulls up in a U-Haul truck, like many others, that's a big red flag for us. So we start looking at this customer a little bit more seriously, figuring out why this guy's using a rental truck instead of just his own equipment, buddies trucks, company trucks. So that's a red flag right out the gate. Or let's say a guy does show up on site with a truck and trailer of his own, but it's like a 6,000 pound rated trailer. He's there for like a 10,000 pound excavator. So that right out the gate tells you this guy's not qualified for this rental. He doesn't know what he's doing in this industry. So that's a chance for you to start talking to the guy a little bit more about, do you really know what you're getting into here? Is this something that we can protect ourselves from? So maybe a guy's trying to make a quick buck off your equipment, but he doesn't understand how the industry works, what expectations are of trailers and hauling. So that's your chance to go ahead and just cut off the rental and say, hey, you need to figure out a better form of transportation that's legitimate, because this is just obviously not going to fly, let alone your insurance is going to be screaming at you. Say a guy takes off out of there, you went ahead and loaded a guy up with a way too heavy piece of equipment. It may sound silly, but I guarantee that there's rental operators doing that. Don't do that, because then your insurance, I guarantee, is not going to help cover you if something does happen, because he pulls off the lot when you knowingly loaded him up with the wrong piece of equipment for the rated trailer that he's got. Another really big one is a guy sending like a tow company, a rollback, to pick up a piece of equipment to deliver to some job site. That's weird. We've had like 1 or 2 instances of it, but it's worked out fine. But I've heard plenty of horror stories of rental houses where a guy comes from some like out of town or even local tow house and loading up a piece of equipment, taking it to a job site, and then the machine disappears. So if a guy shows up with another company's towing services, that's a big red flag. We just typically don't allow it unless the company or customer has rapport with us that we know that for whatever reason they may have an inside track with that tow company for getting a better rate than our rate on delivering equipment if they're unable to haul it. The living legend, Ed Craddock, actually comes on the ERG program and talks about how if a customer's vehicle's registration is expiring in the next 30 days, he'll also deny the rental. So that's worked out for him. It's been interesting to hear other operators, what they've incorporated into their process for denying rentals. It's kind of cool to hear what they've done, experienced. He said it's been successful for him. So that's something that you guys should consider adding into yours. Just paying attention to their tags, making sure that they're current for the next 30 days plus. Now we're going to move on to item number 4, and that's about payment weirdness. So a guy comes in trying to make a payment with like a prepaid card, like one of those Visa cards you get at Walmart, a Walmart prepaid card, Green Dot cards, anything like that. That's just a no-go for us. It should be a no-go for you too. It needs to be something credible for like a financial institution tied to it. Needs to have their name, legal name on it. Again, whoever's renting, picking it up, the contract is in their name, and then we expect the payment to also be in that customer's name. If they're being a little bit standoffish, which I can kind of understand about the process of you taking their card from them, looking at it, making sure it matches their name to the guy in front of you, explain it into a way of, hey, this is just us also protecting you as the customer. That way, it couldn't just be anybody coming in with someone else's card. Help them to understand that you value protecting your customers just as much as you care about protecting yourself, because you don't want to be charging a card that's been stolen from somebody else. Just make them understand it is just a matter of security, protecting yourself and your customers alike. So it would be wise to go ahead and start a process, if you haven't already, of taking the card from them physically, verifying that the name on the card matches the customer in front of you before it's then entered into your system. I can pretty much guarantee most everyone here, no matter what POS they're using, it's going to store that customer's information, that card, in the system. So it's just a one-time deal. Anytime a guy's making a payment with a card, just make that little step of taking it from them, verifying that the name matches, everything's all on the same page, and then proceeding with the transaction. Now, let's say you're through the process of verifying the card matches the customer. If they swipe the card and it declines, that's a red flag to us, and it should be to you. If then they go to try to grab another card to use, they may have some sort of financial problem where they're trying to get the minimum rate on a machine with every intention of extending it past, but then what can you do? You can't charge their card. If they have another card that's low on funds, that's a red flag. You might go ahead and inquire a little bit of the story of, oh, snap, what happened? What's up with this card? It's just super simple conversation. It's not intrusive because, again, you are also in charge of protecting yourself and your company, making sure that you're not going to get hoodwinked on anything. So I would definitely say if a customer is kind of rifling through various cards, trying to find one to work, I would just go ahead and start to pump the brakes a little bit on the transaction and make them understand too that, hey, it's kind of unusual for a customer's card to have multiple cards that decline. We're just going to have to say no to this transaction because ultimately it's okay to say no. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, as businessmen, we're trying to make as much money as possible. But at the end of the day, again, it is about protecting yourself, your assets, and your guys too. You have to think about your guys and that you're setting them up for success on principles and processes that extend the life of your company, make you guys as profitable as possible. That way wages can grow, increase quality of life, everything that coincides with that. Then let's say a guy is on the phone making a reservation and he's demanding that he can pay for it over the phone before he comes in person to pick it up. Even though he's coming in person, you can tell him, I could take your information, but I'm not going to take your card information over the phone because that also is going to violate a few credit card rules in terms of PCI compliance. You all are probably super aware of that side of things. If they're like super adamant on paying over the phone and then getting like borderline irate about you being reluctant or hesitant or pushing back on doing that, that's a bit of a red flag that you should start paying attention to for this customer. Yeah, they can come in later, prove the ID or card to the person, but still it's a super weird thing to be so hung up on as a customer. It's just a good red flag to kind of pay attention to. So on the ERG's series, there's a Brittany Bruno who comes on from Crown Rental. This is a fact I didn't know, which is kind of neat. So your Samsung Pay, your Google Pay on your phone and what have you, that's actually like a one-time use card, like a virtual card of sorts. I didn't know that. I thought it actually stored the physical card number on the phone, and then if you used it at any location, it would just have that credit card information then pressed to your system. It doesn't. It's like a one-time use thing, like some of your credit card processors have online virtual cards for like one-time uses. That's the same premise. So she has said it's been a big issue for them of customers paying with those Google Pay or Samsung Pay options with their phones, just tapping it on the reader. So that's something that you should also consider saying no to, because again, it's just a one-time use deal. There's nothing to actually store in your system to then go after them later for more money if they end up extending the rent. So super cool fact, didn't know that. I'm happy to have gone through that series just to learn that little fact so that I can pass it along to you guys. Then I just want to reiterate one more time before we move on to the last part of it, is always at that first swipe, always take that card in hand. Verify the ownership of it. It's, again, super simple, takes seconds, not intrusive because, again, you're protecting the customer. Explain it to them in that way. And an honest customer shouldn't really have too much of an issue with you just verifying, keeping everyone safe on that transaction. Just take the time to do it, add it into your process because it's just a one-time deal. You swiped it, you verified it, then it's in your system for life. Then you can just keep charging it and go after that in the future tense, in future rentals, or just the extension of that rate. Then I got to save the best for last, and that's going to be number 5 as trust your gut. Your gut is screaming at you for a reason. Your gut is coming to you with years of experience that's always, in the back of your mind. Trust it because it is so often right. The amount of times that I went against my gut for whatever reason, I can tell you more often than not, I end up regretting it. So just listen to your gut. It has something to say. It's there for a reason. Michael St. Hill over at the National Equipment Register, he talks about the importance of trusting your gut. But in part with that, make sure that you're empowering your people to have an out of some sort if their gut is screaming at them, or they've got some other things that are not making sense, that they're like, hey, I'm not really ready to deny this contractor or this customer, but something's not right. Empower your people by giving them an out, and that may be bringing in a superior, someone above them, to then get involved, say, hey, I'm no longer comfortable with this. Let me get Jack here involved. Jack's going to come in, start feel out the customer, use their years of experience and their ability to read people. then even us as the business owners, we're 100% going to have your back as a counter people, lot hands, what have you, whatever your role is in the company. We're going to have your back if you're making an informed decision and you ultimately don't want to be responsible for a choice that ends up costing us. We're going to be appreciative of that. Honestly, probably reward you in some way if we also get involved and say, man, this does not seem right. We're going to go ahead and deny it, because that, you're the type of people that we want to keep around. It's okay to speak up, be bold. 60 seconds of awkwardness is definitely going to be a lifetime of regret. And then also that, career of frustration between you and people above you because you decided not to listen to your gut, even though, you may have had the proper training to deal with these customers, the things to look out for, all those red flags. Just go ahead and just make that call to bring in, use your out, save yourself, save your company. That's A-okay. Again, we're going to have your back because ultimately you have the success of company at mind and at heart. So we're going to be in your corner every single time. That is going to be a wrap for the top 5 red flags to look for in the equipment rental industry. Just as a little 60-second checklist that you can do right now to sleep better at night is train everyone. I'd say as a first call to action, train everyone, your counter people, delivery drivers, lot hands. Make sure everyone is on the same page as to what they're looking out for. Your whole organization needs to be empowered on that front. Next would be using free tools that exist already for you right now. And even some tools that are going to be paid for, it's definitely worth the investment, like your ID scanners, free resource as like bin checker. Then there's Experian Auto Check. That's going to be for your credit cards, what we were talking about in regards to their payment methods. Third would be empowering your people to say no. And then also not only their ability to say no, also have their back when they're saying no, just for the sake of consistency and making sure your people understand that you are in their corner so much of the time. But make sure that they understand these are the instances when you do say no. That way it's not no so easily. They still need to have a legitimate reason for saying no. But if your people are coming to you with a no, don't be weird about trying to get every dollar out of every rental. A $400 rental is not worth a $60,000 machine walking out of the store, needless to say. Theft walks in the door 99% of the time. So you as the counter people, lot hands, delivery drivers, you guys are our front lines for keeping all the equipment safe. Owners, please be sure that you're in your people's corner, empowering them to make the right decisions, educated decisions, and also that you show them that, hey, I have your back. We appreciate the efforts that you put in to keep us safe and reward your people for those sorts of things. Definitely encourage it, reward it when you see it, but also make an effort to remind people to watch for those things because human complacency certainly happens. Then to finally close up today's podcast, drop your stories down below. Let me know times that you have made a decision, you said no, and got proven right later. Also, let me know your failures. Let me know when you didn't trust your gut, you regretted it, ended up getting burned on something. Let's hear about it. That way you're actually going to give information to the next guy too that he may find valuable whenever he encounters that situation. Then for my equipment counter pros, let me know some of your red flags that are perhaps non-negotiable whenever dealing with a customer and something where you want to shut down a rental. I'd love to bounce some ideas back and forth. To me, there's almost like an infinite amount of red flags that you could build off of, but that's just because every market is so different. But what will be awesome is by posting that, you may have someone in your market that's dealing with something that we don't deal with, and now you're going to empower them to keep themselves safe, keep their company safe, and just really build that sense of community that we are working so hard towards here at the Rent All Business Beacon. So I'm going to sign off. So protect your iron, protect your people, and we'll see you on the next one.